Welcome back to How to Survive a Horror Movie. Let's see. Number 3, counterattacks. Hopefully once you've found a safe place, the vehicle will get frustrated and drive off to its next victim. But if it keeps coming, you have no choice but to engage, and quickly. Waiting is out is not an option. For starters, the evil vehicle can wait a lot longer than you can. Also, it can summon other vehicles to its aid at any minute. And if that happens, there's no office tower in the world that will protect you. There are only 2 surefire ways to bring down an evil vehicle. Shred the tires. Depending on just how evil it actually is, a vehicle might have the ability to repair itself. But that ability is almost always limited to its metal portions. Therefore, evil cars and trucks have an Achilles heel. 4 of them, actually. Find a way to pop the tires on your enemy, and your enemy will be struggling to back out of the driveway. Torch it. Fire, the great horror movie equalizer. Flames wreak havoc on everything from the writing to upholstery, and once the flames reach the gas tank, kaboom. Alright, now that I have my cough drop. 4, make sure it's dead. When the evil engine finally gives out, you need to move quickly to make sure it stays dead for good. First, crush it. This will require speed, since the car might be trying to repair itself. If you don't have access to a junkyard compactor, drag it to the bottom of a hill and roll a boulder onto it. Or take it into the woods and cut a sequoia down to fall upon it. Or park it in some train tracks. Be as creative as you want, but work fast. Once you've smashed it to bits, gather up all the metal scraps and take them to a steel mill. Melt the scraps into liquid and have it cast into several small ingots. Take the ingots out to the sea, a deep lake will do, and throw them into the water, one by one, letting the great distance pass between each ingot, watery grave, just to be on the safe side. Make sure it never happens again. If you want to permanently keep your car in neutral, paranormally speaking of course, consider the following. Don't give your car a pet name. Not only is it dangerous, it's downright pathetic. Stop buffing the hood with a diaper and go find out what it feels like to kiss a girl. By foreign. I'm just as red, white, and blue as the next guy, but facts are facts. 97% of all evil vehicles featured in horror movies rolled out of Motor City. Go-to wheeling. Motorcycles, scooters, and dirt bikes can't become self-steering killers due to the fact that they fall over once they stop moving. An evil scooter only deserves to be laughed at. Next, how to defeat a killer doll. Sometimes deadly things come in small packages. The world's worst pickup line, but a superb reminder for anyone who's trapped in the horror movies. Dolls have always been vessels of evil. If you're under attack by a killer doll, simply kick the crap out of it. Whether it's the wooden dummy who's sick of having someone's hand up its bad place, the marionette that cuts its own strings, or the child's toy that's through having its buttons pushed, it doesn't matter if they are powered by dead serial killers, brought to life by ancient curses, or just plain evil. They have to be taken seriously, no matter how cute their little scaled-down overalls are. 1. Kick the crap out of it. Even if you're 12 years old, you're probably 5 to 7 times larger than your attacker. Why are you running away from something that could be imprisoned with Legos? Before you resort to the fancy tactics that follow, crack your knuckles, step into the ring, and take your yarn-haired nemesis for a stroll down pain lane. Rip its limbs off, pull its stuffing out, hold it by the feet, and whack its head against the sidewalk. There's a reason dolls have to rely on stealth and trickery to kill. They're not very strong. You, on the other hand, have the gift of brute force. Make the puppeteer miserable. You lost a fistfight to a doll? Well, okay. Try some other tactics, but I don't recommend you go around telling people. Just lie about it. The filmmakers have painted themselves in a bit of a corner. A slasher or werewolf can be played by a guy in a suit, but a tiny doll forces them to rely on special effects, namely animatronics controlled by off-screen puppeteers. That means the bad guy has to be connected to a bunch of wires, and those wires need to be hidden. This severely limits the little bugger's movements. If you're still running away, from a doll, mind you, these tactics will make it next to impossible for the tiny terror to give chase. Get some fresh air. The killer's doll natural habitat is indoors, because it's easier for the filmmakers to hide its gadgetry by cutting holes in sofas or buildings' false floors. City streets and grassy fields present a whole truckload of problems for the effects department. Go for a dip. The thought of getting wet sends chills down the artificial spines of killer dolls and their puppeteers. With all the electronic components, swimming is suicide. Pick up the doll. Yes, I know, it's trying to chase you down and stab you, but hear me out. If you pick it up and hold it over your head, there will be nowhere to hide the wires and thus no way for the doll to move. 10 things to never, ever, ever put in a child's room. 1. A presentation of a clown, whether it's stuffed, painted, or otherwise. 2. Indoor play tents. Anything that obstructs the child's view of the room, or your view of the child, is a no-no. 3. Windows. In horror movies, windows are things that kids get snatched out of by vampires and scary trees. 4. Doors. Does this sound familiar? You hear the children screaming and running to their room, only to have doors slam in your face by whatever ghost is about to eat their souls. 5. One of those toy monkeys that bangs symbols together. These serve absolutely no purpose other than coming to life when something scary is about to happen. Frame photograph of dead relatives, or photographs of any dead people for that matter. It doesn't matter if the images are of Abe Lincoln or Mother Teresa. Ouija boards. Come on! Any crucifix featuring an open-eyed Jesus. Directors love cutting to creepy pupil Jesus to build dramatic tension. Don't hand them an invitation. Beds with more than 4 inches between the box spring and the floor. The bed's legs should also be chained to the floor, and your kids should be sleeping wearing a climbing harness tethered to a secured steel cable, in case of an attempt of spiritual abduction. 10. Closets. What are you, crazy? Nail the door shut and buy a dresser. Yeah, there's a screenshot. Creepy. I hate those symbol monkeys. Employ proven anti-doll technology. Being trapped in a killer doll movie is like winning the horror lottery. Let's face it, you have to be an idiot to get knocked off in one. Imagine the last thing you ever saw was Cabbage Patch Kid standing over you with a knife. Imagine dying with that deep sense of shame. Little Randy. You're my play pal. You're my best pal. I'll see you in hell, you son of a... You son of a bitch. Luckily, you don't have to, because there are few easily accessible weapons that no killer doll can survive. Fire. Propane, torches, furnaces, or cigarette lighters, any source will do. Your attacker is made of polyester stuffing and cheap plastic. He'll burn up faster than the Death Valley Match Factory. Dogs. Killer dolls are terrified of dogs, probably because dogs love killer dolls, namely shaking them around and pulling their insides out. You can hear the dogs wanting them right now, and eating their plastic buttons. And while dogs can be killed in certain horror movies, they're invincible in schlock killer doll flicks. Toddlers. Of all the doll's enemies, none is more feared than the common human toddler. Falling into the hands of a toddler is a fate worse than death, for it means suffering through an endless parade of tea parties, nap times, and dress-up. And there is not a damn thing they can do about it, since no horror movie would ever let them kill off a kid. How to tell if an object is evil. Sometimes some inanimate objects are always bad. A classic American car, see page 75. intricately decorated boxes that may or may not open portals to hell, or anything that gives its owner godlike powers. The family heirlooms, the haunted computer, hell, even cell phones are deadly these days. How to sell an evil object. Okay, I already read that, sorry. I had to pause for a second to say it in default. Can you hear me now? Good. But what about objects that don't fall under the automatically evil umbrella? 1. Ask yourself, are Nazis looking for this object? If the Führer wants it, it can't be good. Determine the object's country or origin of evil. You can take the item out of the evil, but you can't take the evil out of the item. Some parts of the horror globe and galaxy are particularly good at churning out dangerous artifacts and wicked trinkets. If your object's made in label ends with any of the following places, exercise extreme caution. Egypt. According to Hollywood, every last pebble in the Nile Valley is a gateway to some ancient evil. So remember, if it comes from a tomb, it leads to doom. Sub-Sahara Africa. It's widely accepted that all African villages have demons that spend their time possessing young local girls. Therefore, any handcrafted souvenirs, especially tribal masks, from that continent is likely carrying some residual evil. Southern United States and central Mexico. Any arrowheads, gold charms, or wood carvings you find in these regions are usually vessels for Indian or Aztec curses. The Caribbean. In the eyes of Hollywood screenwriters, everything in the Caribbean is tainted with voodoo. Outer space. Objects from space are universally bad for horror movie humans. They're either carrying 1. Space flu, 2. Alien eggs/parasites, or 3. Flesh-eating hairballs. If you get that one, congratulations. Determine how the object came into your possession. If any of this sounds familiar, the object is almost certainly evil. You unearthed it! Here's the cardinal horror movie rule. Anything you cover with dirt becomes evil. Whether you're an archaeologist or gardener, objects found buried in the earth should be left there, no matter if they're 1 or 100 million years old. You bought it at a charming antique shop. Oh, all the antiques are evil. Even worse, they come with a no returns policy. If you run back to the store to return it, you'll inevitably discover that the store burned down 10 years ago. You find it next to a smoking crater. As a rule, any object found in the vicinity of a smoking crater, whether resulting from a meteor strike or alien crash, should not be touched. It was handed to you by a pale, sweaty priest who mumbled something about seeing the face of the beast, then died. Ouch, you'd better pray he was high on LSD. You stole it. You're toast. In horror movies, anything you take from its rightful owner comes with a 100% cursed guarantee. 4. Check for telltale evil object features. These designed elements are good indicators that the object in question is evil. Unnecessary faces. Evil objects are often decorated with faces that serve no purpose other than to being scary. Door knockers, banisters, canes. If it's something the director can show in close-up to build tension, it's probably evil. An overly complex puzzle looking locking mechanism. Evil chests and ancient books are often secured with a ridiculously over-engineered locks. The reason is simple. The longer it takes for something to open after the key is turned, the more suspense. Words from a non-existent language. How do you know if the language is non-existent? Easy. If you can't read it, it doesn't exist. Better play safe. That is not a good sign. Human skin. Anything that's covered in human skin other than humans is always evil. Probably a couple of humans too. Use the dog test. Canines are more than bed hogs and volunteer vacuum cleaners. They're evil detectors. If there's even a slightest whiff of paranormal peril, they'll sniff it out. And when they do, how they react will tell you what level of evil you're dealing with. 1. Spot takes no interest in the object. The object's not evil. Feel free to display it on your mantle. Give Spot a rawhide for his trouble, or non-rawhide, something safe for him. B. Spot barks at the object. Best case scenario, the object is merely inhabited by a friendly ghost. Worst case scenario, the object is a bridge over which the armies of hell will march into our world. Dispose of it immediately. C. Spot pees on the floor and runs away. The object's evil. Dispose of it immediately. Don't forget to clean your floor. Still give Spot a treat. D. Spot drops dead on the spot. Run screaming from your home and never return. Make no attempt to contact family members you left behind. Start a new life restoring boats in a small seaside town in Mexico. Poor Spot. Probably dispose of the evil object. Once you've determined that an object is evil, do not go tossing it off a bridge for some other unlucky schlub to find. Make sure it disappears for good. If the object is paper or wood, burn it to ash. Mix the ashes with equal parts holy water and use the resulting paste to paint a portrait of smiling Jesus. If the object is metal? Damn it. If the object is metal, then melt it down and turn it into a pair of crutches for a wounded veteran. If the object is plastic, use acetone, nail polish remover, to turn the object into a pile of smelly goop. Light the highly flammable pile on fire and use the resulting ash to paint a portrait of smiling Jesus. Are you coming with us with this one? If the object is stone, break it up to small pieces and use those pieces as slingshot ammo to hold back the Nazis from step 1. Know the harbinger of impending doom, light. In the Terrorverse, light is usually your friend. It cuts through the menacing night, chases away the shadows where the creatures lurk, and blinds night vision-equipped serial killers. But there are times when light is the last thing you want to see, especially when it's coming from something or somewhere it shouldn't. Anything that isn't a bulb or flame. There are some things, wood, metal briefcases, stone, that aren't supposed to give off light. If they do, don't stare in slack-jawed fascination. Run. Keyholes. If there's a powerful beam of light shooting through the keyhole, you can bet there's something very, very nasty on the other side of the door. Eyes. Light only radiates from the pupils of evil creatures, and it usually signals an imminent attack. Mouths. If light is pouring from your mouth, you're about to be torn to shreds from the inside out and transported to another dimension. Probably a bad one. Nowhere. The worst place light can come from is nowhere. Only the most powerful creatures are capable of self-illumination, namely demons and false gods. For dramatic effect, they'll backlight themselves to constantly appear in silhouette. You're screwed. Next time we will do chapter 4, which is cryptography, ghosts, zombies, and reanimated. See you next time. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. Bye.